We were 3 weeks out from the wedding with Vanessa. Everything was perfect, or so I thought. The dress fittings were done. The venue was booked. The menu was finalized down to the garnish on the appetizer plates. Her Pinterest board had turned into a living map of our future. White roses, gold-trimmed glassware, candles in crystal holders that shimmered like tiny promises. I had just wired the final payment for the live band she insisted on. Classy, but still a party, she'd said, smiling that way she does when she already knows she's getting what she wants. She called it our day, but really it was her masterpiece. Every detail had her fingerprints. I just signed the checks, smiling like a man who believed he was walking toward forever. Her name was already on my health insurance. We were talking about baby names: Logan if it's a boy, Emma if it's a girl. I remember the night she said it, half asleep, her voice curling against my shoulder. Emma, she'll have your eyes. My life was locked in, mapped out, complete, until a message came that blew a hole straight through it. It was from Chloe, just 3 words. Don't marry her. No punctuation, no explanation, just that. I stared at my phone for a long time, like the screen might rearrange itself into something else, something less catastrophic. Chloe wasn't a stranger. She was Vanessa's old college friend, the kind of woman who didn't talk much, but always seemed to know more than she should. We'd spoken over the years: barbecues, birthdays, game nights. She had this dry humor, sharp enough to draw blood if you weren't careful. Vanessa always said she was too blunt, which, in hindsight, was her way of saying dangerous. I wrote back, "What's this about?" The reply came almost instantly, but not in text. Just one line: "Meet me today, Old Pine Park, 3:00 p.m. No emoji, no small talk, just the quiet certainty of someone about to drop a bomb. I showed up 20 minutes early. The park was mostly empty, the kind of gray afternoon that feels like the world's holding its breath. Wind stirred dry leaves across the cracked concrete path. I sat there, hands clasped, pretending to check my watch every few seconds. My stomach had that cold, weightless feeling, like the moment before a car crash. Then I saw her, Chloe, walking up in jeans and a dark hoodie, no makeup, no smile, just purpose. Her face was unreadable. "Hey," she said, that was it. 1 syllable, flat, controlled. "Hey," I answered, my throat dry. She didn't sit, just unlocked her phone, thumb flicking across the screen before she handed it to me. No explanation, no build-up, just the glow of truth pressed between us. It was a photo. Vanessa, my Vanessa, wearing a white sash that said bride-to-be, her lipstick a shade too bright under the club lights. She was kissing a shirtless man in a cop's hat, her fingers tangled in his hair. His hand was under her dress. I could see her thigh, the edge of her underwear, and something in me went still completely, unnaturally still. "This was 2 nights ago," Chloe said quietly. "Bachelorette party." Her tone was flat, detached, like she'd already burned through every emotion before she even hit send on that message. She swiped again, another photo, Vanessa grinding on the guy's lap, head thrown back, laughing like she'd forgotten her own name. Then another, lipstick smeared, mascara streaked, bottle in hand. The girl I was supposed to marry, didn't even look like herself anymore. She left with him, Chloe said. For a long moment I didn't breathe, didn't blink. I just stared at the screen, waiting for it to morph into something forgivable. This isn't her. She wouldn't. But every denial I reached for died in my throat. Vanessa had insisted we do the bachelor and bachelorette parties early. Said she wanted time to detox and glow before the wedding. I'd thought that was sweet, thoughtful. Now it felt like a rehearsed excuse. I handed Chloe her phone back. My jaw felt wired shut. My heartbeat had slowed into something mechanical. She told the girls not to tell you, Chloe said softly. Said it was her last night as a free woman. Said she earned it. I looked past her, past the gray park, into nothing. Why are you telling me this? She didn't blink. Because you deserve to know what you're marrying into. There was nothing left to say. No explosion, no shouting, just a cold, collapsing silence inside me. Something fundamental had cracked. I went home in a fog. Vanessa was working late, or at least that's what she'd said. I didn't wait up. I packed what mattered: laptop, passport, a few clothes. Left everything else exactly where it was, even the engagement photo on the fridge. It felt poetic, leaving it there like a tombstone for something I used to believe in. By the time she got home, I was already miles away. I didn't block her number. I wanted to see her panic. The first day it was texts. Where are you? Everything okay? I'm getting worried. The second day, you're scaring me. If this is about cold feet, please, we can talk. I ignored them all. On the third day, curiosity, or maybe weakness, made me turn my phone back on. I was sitting in a cheap motel 2 towns over when it started to ring. Within 10 minutes, her name lit up the screen. Finally, she breathed when I answered. Her voice was shaking. Where are you? What's going on? You know what's going on. A pause. I could hear her breathing, shallow, fast. I don't understand. I saw the pictures. Silence. Then you. What pictures? The ones from the bachelorette. You left with a nightclub dancer. That's not... She started, but I cut her off. Stop. Just stop. I know what I saw. Her voice cracked. I didn't sleep with him. I swear. I was drunk. It was stupid. I made a mistake. You were just going to lie about it, right? Walk down the aisle, say your vows like nothing happened. I didn't mean for it to go that far, she said, tears threading her words. Please, just let me explain. Not like this, face to face. I've got nothing to say. I hung up. She called 20 more times that night. I let every call ring out, one after another, until her name became just noise. Then came the voicemails, her voice breaking, begging, raging. I listened to every one of them, not because I cared, but because I wanted the last illusion to die completely. By day 5, the guilt campaign began. The texts came faster. I can't sleep. I can't eat. Everyone's asking questions. You're the only one who can fix this. Every message was a knife trying to find a soft spot. And still, I said nothing. But the silence, I would learn, was only the beginning, because people like Vanessa, they don't accept endings. They rewrite them, and she was already writing hers. Do you know how humiliated I feel? That's how her next voicemail began. Her voice trembled, a strange cocktail of fury and desperation. I made one mistake, she said, and you're destroying everything. You're punishing me worse than I deserve. She always had a way of turning her own crimes into poetry. I sat in that dim motel room, phone on the nightstand, listening to her voice break through the speaker like static on an old radio. Every message sounded the same blame dressed up as pain, like I was the villain for walking away, like betrayal was something you could measure in percentages. But then the tone changed, the warmth, the pleading. It went dark, the threats began, some subtle, some not. I don't know what I'll do if you stay silent. I can't handle this alone. Please don't make me do something I'll regret. I saved every one of them. Every message, every voicemail, I didn't reply. I just documented, because at that point, instinct told me silence wasn't cruelty, it was protection. Then nothing, radio silence, no calls, no texts, just 3 days of quiet so heavy it pressed on my chest like a weight. The kind of quiet that doesn't feel peaceful, it feels strategic, like she was planning her next move. 3 mornings later, I walked into the office like it was any other day, coffee in hand, tie slightly crooked. My mind still half asleep. The front desk receptionist waved, but I barely noticed. I turned down the hallway toward my floor and stopped cold. She wasn't supposed to be there. It wasn't Vanessa. It was her mother, hair immaculate, pearls glinting under the fluorescent lights, wearing a coat that probably cost more than my rent. She looked painfully out of place in that sterile corporate lobby, like she'd stepped straight out of a magazine shoot into a crime scene. Our eyes met across the room. Her smile never came. "Can we talk somewhere private?" she asked, voice calm, but too calm. The kind of calm people use before detonating something. I didn't answer. I just turned and walked toward the back hallway near the loading dock. Concrete floors, flickering lights, the hum of machinery echoing off the walls. It felt industrial, cold, perfect for what this was about to become. She followed in silence, heels clicking behind me like punctuation marks. We stopped near the freight elevator. She didn't sit, didn't lean, just squared her shoulders. "Vanessa's a wreck," she began. I said nothing. She hasn't eaten, barely sleeps. She cries nonstop. Still, I waited. She made a mistake. "No," I said, finally meeting her eyes. She made a choice. Then she lied about it. Her lips pressed together, painted and trembling just slightly. She didn't sleep with him. I don't believe that anymore. She was drunk. It was one stupid night. It was a night she made sure I'd never know about. I said evenly. Her expression hardened. Her tone shifted from maternal sorrow to something colder, defensive, almost venomous. "Maybe," she said, "if you'd been a better fiancé, she wouldn't have felt the need to act out. That one hit like a slap." But I didn't flinch, so it's my fault now. I'm saying maybe she felt unloved, ignored. "You're cold, withdrawn, you always have been." I laughed, low and bitter. The sound didn't even feel like mine. She planned every second of that wedding, every color, every flower, every bite of food. I followed her lead in everything. If I was distant, it's because I thought I was standing next to someone I could trust. Her eyes flashed, her composure cracking. "You two were perfect together." "No," I said quietly. "She was perfect when I didn't know who she was." That landed. She looked away, gaze darting toward the concrete floor, like she was trying to find a way out of this conversation. "You're really going to walk away from everything, from her, from us? There's nothing left to walk away from." Her jaw tightened. "You're making a mistake," she said sharply, And when this all blows over, don't expect her to take you back. I nodded once. Goodbye, ma'am. Then I turned and walked away without looking back. I blocked her number, but of course it wasn't the end. 2 days later, it was the father. He didn't text, didn't call, just waited leaning against a silver BMW in the motel parking lot, like some mob accountant. When I stepped outside to smoke, he pocketed his phone and smiled like we were old friends. You're hard to track down, he said. I took a slow drag, said nothing. We need to talk. Pretty sure we don't. He stepped closer, his cologne sharp, expensive, aggressive. You embarrassed her. You humiliated our family. People are talking. She did that herself. He narrowed his eyes. We've put down over 30 grand Veng. You, catering, florals, photographer. Do you even grasp the damage you've caused? Oh, I get it, I said coolly. She cheats, and I owe you money. You walked away from a binding agreement. Show me the contract. His face twitched. I always thought you were a little off, he muttered, quiet, always watching. My wife said you had killer eyes. Should have trusted her gut. Killer eyes, I repeated softly. Nice touch. She's still willing to forgive you, he said, stepping in too close. That's generous of her. I let out a slow exhale. Is that what this is? A family PR campaign? Listen, son, he said, dropping the pretense. I don't care how much this hurt your feelings. You either show up and fix this, or you'll be paying us back in court. I flicked the cigarette at his shoes. Try me. He didn't flinch, just stared at me, jaw tight, like he wasn't sure if I was bluffing or unhinged. I didn't give him time to decide. I walked back inside and closed the door. The next morning she came. Not unannounced, she texted first. Said she needed 5 minutes. Said she was parked outside. I looked through the blinds. There she was. White Lexus, engine running, hands gripping the steering wheel so hard her knuckles looked white. She was wearing makeup, but it didn't hide the exhaustion, smudged eyeliner, trembling lips. She looked both broken and rehearsed. I don't even know why I went down. Maybe I wanted to see how far she'd fall. Maybe I just wanted to watch the guilt play out in real time. I opened the passenger door and sat down. You look like hell, I said. She gave a humorless laugh. So do you. We sat there for a long moment, the air between us thick with everything unsaid. Then, softly, she whispered, I miss you. I looked straight ahead. No, I said, you miss control. That hit. She turned to face me, eyes glistening. Really? She asked. You think that's what this is? Her voice cracked, but her gaze stayed sharp, searching for some old version of me she could still manipulate. And then, like she'd been saving it, she leaned in closer and said something that made my skin crawl. Look, she whispered, if it'll make things right, you can sleep with someone. I blinked, thought I'd misheard. What? I'm serious, she said quickly, just once. Pick whoever you want. I won't be mad. I mean, we're engaged. It should count for something. For a moment, all I could do was stare. No emotion, no anger, just disbelief. You think letting me sleep with someone else erases what you did? She hesitated. I think it's a gesture, a sign that I'm willing to fix this. No, I said coldly, it's pathetic. Her face twisted. I'm trying, okay? I'm doing everything I can to fix your image, I said, not your character. Don't do that. She snapped suddenly, her composure shattering. Don't sit there all holier than thou, like I never cheated on you. I cut in. You're acting like I'm a criminal. No, I said, leaning in just enough for her to see the calm in my eyes. I'm acting like a man who watched his fiancée tongue kissing a stranger in front of her friends and then try to buy forgiveness with an open invitation to cheat. That's not love, Vanessa. That's damage. Something inside her broke. She hit me not hard, just a quick slap to the shoulder, then another open palm against my chest. I hate you, she yelled, her voice cracked, tears streaming, breath coming fast. You're cold, she hissed. You're cold. And I remember thinking, no, Vanessa, you just finally met someone who won't burn for you anymore. I stared at her across the dashboard, the rain sliding down the windshield like a curtain between two strangers who had once promised forever. You're heartless, she said. Her voice trembled, but there was steel in it, the kind that hides behind practiced fragility. I looked her straight in the eyes, calm, unshaken. No, I said quietly, I just finally see you clearly. Her breath hitched. For a moment, neither of us moved. The engine hummed. Somewhere far off, thunder rolled like an omen. I opened the door, the cold air rushing in, slicing through the suffocating tension inside that car. Don't walk away again, she screamed behind me, her voice cracking, desperate. You're not finished with me. I turned once, my hand still on the door. You offered me a hall pass like a discount coupon. I said evenly, that's all I need to know about you. Then I walked away. And this time I didn't look back. But Vanessa didn't disappear. People like her never do, they haunt. If anything, she multiplied. Voice notes instead of texts, as if the sound of her voice could pull me back into orbit. Always crying, always looping through the same emotional maze. Please, let's talk. I can't eat. I can't sleep. I'll do anything. The next morning, she was waiting outside my office, like a scene from an old noir film. Coat cinched tight, sunglasses hiding eyes that never stopped moving. I froze mid-stride, heartbeat steady but jaw locked. If you come near me again, I said, stepping closer, lowering my voice, I'll call the police. Her mouth fell open. You'd really do that to me? Try me. I turned and walked into the building, ignoring the sting of her stare burning into my back. Through the glass doors, I saw her still standing there, motionless, small, but dangerous in her stillness. That night, I made the call. The next morning, I sat across from a lawyer in a quiet office above a tile showroom, fluorescent lights buzzing, the faint smell of coffee gone stale. He was in his 40s, sleeves rolled up, eyes sharp but kind. He scrolled through the messages on my phone, one by one. This is more than enough, he said finally. She's not leaving you alone. Showing up, blowing up your phone, that's a pattern. She's not dangerous, I said. She's just spiraling. He leaned forward, tapping his pen on the desk. That's enough. You don't have to wait until she crosses a bigger line. She already has. I sighed. She used to be calculated. Now it's like she's on fire and trying to drag me in with her. Breakups don't make people lose it, he said, matter of fact. They just show you who already didn't have it together. He drafted the papers fast, efficient, surgical. This won't stop her feelings, he added, sliding the document across the desk, but it'll put a wall between them and you. 3 days later, the restraining order was served. No contact, no calls, no showing up. I thought that was it. I was wrong. The day she came to my job again, the receptionist's voice echoed down the hall, nervous. She says she's your fiancé. Every cell in my body tensed. Vanessa stood in the lobby, black blazer, heels sharp enough to wound, lipstick the color of war. Her chest rose and fell quickly, her hand clutching something thick and crumpled. The moment she saw me, she strode forward and threw a stack of papers into my chest. They hit like a slap, legal pages fanning across the floor. You want a war? She hissed. Fine. Here's your war. I looked down. Morgan V., my name, a civil filing, $32,800, the same list I'd seen before, venue deposits, catering. Florals, makeup, hair, photographer, dress, they're suing me. I said, no, we're suing you. Her voice was venom wrapped in velvet. You don't just disappear and humiliate people like this. You left me to clean up the mess. You made the mess, I said coldly. I made one mistake. You made 10 after it. She stepped closer, her perfume cutting through the tension. You think walking away makes you noble. You're a coward, a hero in your own sad story. Her eyes gleamed, not with tears, but rage. My parents are respected. I'm respected. You think you can vanish and make us look like trash. I bent down, picked up the papers, and handed them back. You're doing a great job of that on your own. She slapped them out of my hand again. I swear to God, she hissed, if you don't make this right. What? You'll cry harder. Send another threat. Her composure cracked as people turned to stare. She lowered her voice. This doesn't have to get worse. Oh, it's already over, I said quietly, and walked away. That afternoon I dropped the crumpled lawsuit on my lawyer's desk. She brought it herself, I said. Threw it in my face, in front of everyone. He leafed through it, unimpressed. They're embarrassing themselves. There's no contract, no prenup, no written agreement. The emotional damage part is a joke. It'll be tossed before a judge even blinks, so I don't owe them a dime. Not one. He smirked. They think you'll fold fast to avoid gossip. They don't know you. That night I posted one sentence online: the wedding is canceled. Please respect my privacy. 10 minutes later, I got a voice note from Vanessa's sister. Her voice dripped. Poison? You're breaking her. She's not eating, she's not sleeping, she's going to end up in the hospital, and you're just watching her bleed. I didn't reply. I didn't even save it, but later that day, my phone rang again. Unknown number. I let it go to voicemail. Her voice came through, thin, trembling. I'm going to the bridge. If you don't come, it's on you. The words hit like ice. I didn't even think. I grabbed my keys. By the time I reached the bridge, rain was pouring in sheets, slicing across the headlights. She was there, standing by the railing, arms out, hair plastered to her neck, wearing that same white trench coat she used to twirl in, like she was the main character of a dream. Don't. I yelled. She turned slowly, smiling. I knew you'd come. You don't scare me, I said. I scare myself. She whispered. I stepped closer, rain soaking through my jacket. You don't want to jump. Vanessa, she tilted her head, eyes glinting. How do you know? Because you wore makeup, I said flatly. Her lips parted. What? If this was real, you wouldn't care how you looked. You came here to put on a show. To make me run? She trembled. I want you to see what you're doing to me. No, I said. I want you to see what you did to us. You could forgive me. She pleaded. People get over worse. I'm not people. Her voice cracked. Please, just don't leave me like this. You already left me. I said, you betrayed me. You lied. You made everyone lie for you. That's who you are. Her hand came fast, a slap sharp enough to sting through the rain. I didn't move, didn't flinch. I just turned, and this time I didn't look back. She didn't jump. Weeks later, the courtroom felt smaller than it was, thick air, heavy silence. Her parents sat at the plaintiff's table, stiff, rehearsed. Her mother's pearls gleamed like armor. Her father's jaw clenched with quiet rage. Vanessa wasn't there. Of course she wasn't. Her parents' lawyer read their claim like theater. My clients invested substantial resources toward a formal union that was abruptly abandoned by the defendant. This caused not only financial loss, but emotional distress. My lawyer stood, calm, collected. Your Honor, permission to respond directly. The judge nodded. He walked forward, dropped a binder onto the table with a solid thud. Let's talk about why this wedding didn't happen, he said, not in theory, in detail. He flipped the binder open, revealing screenshots, messages, secrets. These, he said, voice steady, are messages exchanged between Miss Vanessa Morgan and her friends, days before and after the bachelorette party. The courtroom went silent, and for the first time since it all began, I didn't feel anger. I didn't even feel vindicated. I just felt free. The courtroom felt colder that morning, sterile, echoing like the walls themselves were holding their breath. The air carried that faint hum fluorescent lights make when something's about to break. I sat there, hands clasped together, heartbeat steady but sharp beneath my ribs. Across the room, her parents sat like royalty, stripped of their crown, mother in pearls, chin high, father in a tailored suit, face carved with denial. Vanessa's chair was empty. Of course it was. My lawyer rose slowly, calm but dangerous, a man who knew the weight of silence before a storm. He reached into his briefcase and pulled out a small, sealed plastic evidence bag. The sound of the Ziploc sliding open cut through the stillness like a knife. Inside, a delicate pair of white lace underwear, neatly folded, tagged, and labeled. The judge blinked. The gallery murmured. Even the stenographer paused. These, my lawyer said evenly, holding the bag up for the room to see, were recovered from a man named Marcus Bell. Her father stiffened. Her mother's fingers twitched against the table. Marcus, my lawyer continued, turning a page in his binder, was the performer at Miss Morgan's bachelorette event. He left the city shortly after, but we tracked him down. He provided a sworn statement. The judge leaned forward, adjusting his glasses. Go on. My lawyer nodded, flipping to the next sheet. Mr. Bell confirms that Miss Morgan left the venue with him that night, spent the night at his apartment, and left these behind. A wave of gasps rippled through the room, soft, horrified, real. Her mother's hand shot to her pearls. Her father's jaw locked so hard I could hear it grind. And my lawyer said, voice slicing through the murmurs, he further stated that Miss Morgan told him, and I, quote, it's my last night as a free woman. Might as well enjoy it. The judge exhaled slowly, the sound heavy as a verdict. Her mother made a faint, broken noise, half sob, half shame. Her father's hands trembled against the wood of table. Is the plaint, if disputing any of this? The judge asked sharply, his voice echoing across the chamber. Their attorney stammered, sweat beading at his temple. Your Honor, my clients were unaware of these developments. Unaware. The judge's tone snapped like a whip. He lifted the evidence bag with 2 fingers, his expression sour. This, he said, shaking his head, this is not how a bride prepares for a marriage. This isn't emotional injury. This is a cover-up. He turned his gaze to her parents, eyes narrowing. You're lucky I'm only dismissing the case. This man, he pointed toward me, doesn't owe you $1. And your daughter owes him the truth. A pause, then, coldly, the final blow. Maybe what she really needs is a mirror. Gavel slam. Case dismissed. With prejudice. The sound was like thunder in the hollow of my chest. Not triumph, not victory, but finality. Her father shot up from his seat, face pale, eyes darting anywhere but mine. Her mother followed, heels striking against the marble. She gripped the dismissed court papers like a weapon. They didn't make it far before the facade shattered. This is your fault. Her mother hissed, the words sharp enough to cut. Her husband spun around. Excuse me, you're the one who let her grow up thinking she could lie her way out of anything. Oh, don't you start, he growled. You covered for her every time she screwed up. I protected her. She snapped, because you were too busy golfing to be a father. Their voices bounced off the marble walls, raw, unfiltered, years of rot spilling into daylight. People stopped to watch. A clerk froze mid-motion. 2 law students exchanged stunned glances. She humiliated us. Her mother barked. She disgraced this family. Her father jabbed a finger toward me. He didn't disgrace us, she did. Her mother's eyes snapped to mine, red and furious. This is what you wanted, isn't it? She spat. To ruin her. To make us a circus. I stood still, unflinching. You did that yourselves. Her lips curled. You're disgusting. I smiled faintly, and you're dismissed. Before she could spit another word, a security guard stepped in. All right, take it outside. Both of you. Her father didn't need to be told twice. He stormed out, his wife trailing a step behind, trembling but still trying to look composed. For a heartbeat, she glared at me, eyes burning, face cracking under the weight of humiliation. But the world had stopped listening. I exhaled and walked out through the courthouse doors into the cold afternoon air. The sky was bruised gray, wind sharp, and there she was, Chloe, leaning against a brick column, scarf loose around her neck, eyes steady on mine. She looked calm, real, like someone who hadn't been part of the circus. Just watching from the edge of the fire. You stayed, I said. She shrugged. Figured someone should. I loosened my tie, running a hand down my face. That was a circus. You were the only one who didn't look like a clown. That made me laugh. The first real laugh in months. You saw everything. She nodded. The meltdown, the father turning gray, the mother blaming gravity, and honestly. She smiled faintly. I'm glad you burned it all down. For a moment, neither of us said anything. The city moved around us, horns, traffic, the sound of life resuming. But for me, time finally slowed. Want to grab a drink? She asked softly. You look like you need something stronger than coffee. Honestly, I said, half smiling, I just want to sit somewhere quiet. With someone who doesn't fake cry or throw court papers. She raised an eyebrow. That's a weirdly sweet thing to say. I'm a weird guy now. She tilted her head toward the street. I'm parked around the corner. Whiskey and silence, that's what I've got. Perfect. We walked side by side, no rush, no words. Just 2 people who'd weathered storms and finally found stillness for the first time in months. I didn't feel angry. I didn't feel betrayed. I just felt ready, like the world was finally breathing with me again. 3 weeks passed. No more texts from Vanessa. No bridge theatrics. No voice memos or handwritten apologies tucked under my door. Silence. At first, I thought maybe she'd moved on, found someone else to orbit. But silence isn't peace. It's pressure. the kind that builds before something breaks. One night, Chloe and I were on her couch, a movie flickering quietly, her head against my shoulder, the city glowing beyond the window. Her phone buzzed. She read the message once, then slowly handed it to me, from her cousin, someone still tied to Vanessa's world. Vanessa checked herself in. I stared at the words, psychiatric care facility, breakdown. Her parents had tried to keep it quiet. I read it twice, then set the phone down. She cracked. I asked. Chloe nodded, voice soft. Disappeared for 2 days. They found her sleeping in her car at a rest stop outside the city. She didn't even remember getting there. She playing it for sympathy. Chloe looked at me, no judgment, just sadness. No, this one's real, messy real. Her father's been calling lawyers to bury it. Her mother's gone silent, and Vanessa, she finally ran out of people to lie to. I leaned back, staring at the dark TV screen reflecting the city lights. Do you feel bad for her? Chloe asked quietly. I thought about it for a long time. No, I said finally, I just feel nothing, and that was the part that startled me. The emptiness wasn't cruel, it was clean. The story had burned itself out, leaving nothing but ashes, no anger, no revenge, no ache, just weightlessness. She'd set everything on fire trying to make me stay, and all she really did was set me free.